So I am addicted to pulp magazines, mostly because I'm reading a lot of John D. MacDonald, but also been reading some Theodore Sturgeon, and then I'll open a pulp magazine with one of their stories in it and see another author that I like or another story that seems interesting, and I'll read it. I made a video about reading a pulp magazine from cover to cover, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Some of the stories were stinkers, but overall, it was a lot of fun to read. Now, today I have 3 very good pulp magazines that you should read, and they are free on the Internet Archive. I will have a link in a pinned comment on this video. It's not in the description because YouTube punishes you for sending viewers to links outside of YouTube, so I'm not going to do that. If you want to read them, they will be in the pinned comment on this video, and let's just get into each one. I'm going to do them in chronological order because why not? It doesn't really matter. I'll post pictures of the covers and all that as we go along. The first one is Astounding Science Fiction from April 1941. This one really is here for a single story. It just happens to have another one that is interesting. This has Microcosmic God by Theodore Sturgeon. This short story is fantastic. It is one of the best science fiction short stories I've read, and it is a very good, very strange science fiction story, and really shows you who Theodore Sturgeon was as an author, and I highly recommend it to just about anyone. There's going to be more Theodore Sturgeon in a little while, but this one shows what he does with science fiction, and it's very good. It is about a guy who is just obsessed with tinkering with things, and he tinkers to the point that he makes himself very wealthy by creating a technology, and with that he buys an island where he can be left alone, where he has a laboratory where he can do what he wants, and it gets a very weird, very fast. I highly recommend it. And so, yeah, definitely, if you only read one on this list, make it this one, or maybe the other Theodore Sturgeon story. Like, I'm trying to keep this from becoming a please go read Theodore Sturgeon because I am addicted to his stories, but it might become that. And let's talk about Reason by Isaac Asimov, which is also in this same issue. This is about a robot becoming religious, I guess is the best way to put it. It has started to worship like the master system of this spaceship, and through that religious fanaticism has stuck to the 3 laws of robotics that Asimov created, but in a really weird roundabout way, which makes sense. If a robot is creating a religion, they're going to do some weird spiritual mental gymnastics to get to where they're at. It's an Asimov story. If you've read Asimov, then you know what you're getting into, and do with that what you will. And the rest of the stories, there's an A.E. Van Vogt story, there's an L. Sprague de Camp story. I haven't read those. I will probably read them. The A. Van Vogt one looks really short. The DeCamp one it's a featured serial, so you have to have the April issue and the May issue to read the whole thing, so I don't know about that. But let's move on to the next one. This will come as a shock, but hey, Weird Tales had some really good issues. But I'm not talking about Weird Tales back in like 1936 or whatever, with Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft and all those things. This is Weird Tales, January 1947. It has some serious bangers in it. Some of them are reprints. The first one is a long novelette from William Hope Hodgson called The Hog. This is a Carnacki story. Carnacki is like a ghost detective. All the Carnacki stories are really fun, and this one is no different. This one, I think, is one of the creepier Carnacki stories, so that's nice. But the really important thing in here is Cellmate by Theodore Sturgeon. When I finished it, I was just like, what did I just read? This is so bizarre. Cellmate is about a dude in jail, and he's in there for whatever. He's got a history of crime, and he's this tough dude, and he gets a new cellmate. And this cellmate is this dude with this big barrel chest and little spindly arms and spindly legs, and he's really strange. And as the days go by, the main POV character, this hardened criminal, is like doing the bidding of this dude, and very strange things are happening, and he's really not sure what's going on. It's a really well-written story from where the narrator is having these like lapses in ability to think clearly, and Theodore Sturgeon is like the master of the first line/first paragraph for a story. He just grabs your attention by the throat and doesn't let go until the story's over. It is so fascinating how Theodore Sturgeon writes. I highly recommend this yet again for the Sturgeon story, but I mean, the William Hope Hodgson one also sells this thing. And now, as I was going through this, I saw, oh, look, an H.P. Lovecraft story. I'm not the biggest fan of H.P. Lovecraft, but this is The Familiars, The Pigeon Flyers. I don't know if I've read that, so I don't have much to say about it. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Lovecraft fan. I've read like half of his short fiction. But the sleeper in here is The Handler by Ray Bradbury. Now, Now, Ray Bradbury, most people know, oh yeah, he wrote Fahrenheit 451 that I had to read in high school. But what a lot of people don't realize is he was the king of short fiction. So many people wanted to write like him. The Handler is a very weird story about a mortician who is mocked and mistreated by the community around him. And the way he gets revenge is through what he does to the dead bodies of the people that come into the funeral home. That's definitely something. I need to read it again. It's been a long time. It's in, I think, his collection Dark Carnival. And while I haven't read everything in that, I've read The Martian Chronicles, and they're very good. I mean, it's Ray Bradbury. What am I doing trying to sell Ray Bradbury to anyone that's watching this video? So yeah, this one is very good too. Now, the catalyst for this whole thing, I ended up not sharing as many as I thought about doing because I never shut up about John D. MacDonald. But the main catalyst for this was Startling Stories, September 1951. It has a Jack Vance story and a John D. MacDonald story. I own a physical copy. It's awesome. And I love the cover art. It's just so beautiful. Very atomic age science fiction, and I love it. But on to the stories, the thing that actually matters. We'll start with the John D. MacDonald one because that one is better than the Jack Vance one. The Jack Vance one is still good, but The White Fruit of Bandalar by John D. MacDonald, it's one of his science fiction stories. He didn't write a lot of them. And this one is very strange and ends up being very creepy. It starts with this guy who is part of a group that's trying to buy a planet on the auction block because, this is atomic age science fiction where it's easy to travel out to these different planets and just, get one for yourself and start a new homestead where you can create a planet that, is for you and the people you are aligned with. Well, he loses out on the auction and he's very distraught because this was like a last ditch effort, and he goes to the planet to see what's going on there because it's kind of gone dark and he wants to see what's happening because he might have a chance to buy it again. Well, he gets there and all the people are gone and there's these big trees growing up around where the community was. And I don't want to spoil the twist, but the trees have something weird going on with them. You just got to read it to find out the rest. It's not very long. It's really good. I think it's only like 8 pages or something, which they're double column pages, but still, it's not a very long story. Now, The Masquerade on Lycanthropus by Jack Vance is an interesting story. It is very 1951. You got Jack Vance's good writing, but this thing is kind of weird because it's like this guy who is an archaeologist / geologist, and he's on this remote planet with just his goth girlfriend. Now, normally I wouldn't say goth girlfriend, but her description in the story is literally she wears black clothes, she has black hair, she's got pale skin, and she is like the TikTok goth girlfriend. So it's this weird stereotype that I didn't know existed all the way back in 1951. It's really funny. They're arguing because she's bored and he's just dealing with his rocks and trying to avoid her and her, I don't know, breakdowns that she's having over being there, even though she asked to go with him. There's this whole thing. There's this drama between them, and a ship halfway crash lands, and there are native aliens on the planet, and they're really strange. And there's like this forbidden pyramid where the aliens are like, don't go in there, you can't go in there, you can check out everything else, don't go in the pyramid. And it's like, okay, this like Sigma Chad space explorer halfway crashes his ship, and then the dude's goth girlfriend is like, oh, I'm gonna start flirting with this guy, and she's trying to make her boyfriend jealous, and her boyfriend's like, whatever, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. And he's just doing his own thing. And the Sigma Chad dude's like, what's in that pyramid? And the guy's like, hey, the natives have said that's the one place that's off limits, so don't mess with it. And the guy's like, okay, I won't mess with it. And so they end up getting into the pyramid, and I won't go any further than that. The story is weird, but it's fun. And so it's a good read. Like, if you've already downloaded Startling Stories, then you might as well read both of them. It's like an 11-page story. And I do have some advice for anyone that's going to download these from Internet Archive. You want to download the comic book RAR file. It's just a compressed file, kind of like a zip file, and it's a collection of high quality images, and you can use a comic book reader for that. If you're using an iPad, I recommend Panels. It's free and it does everything perfectly, and you can read from there, and it looks great. And if you're reading on PC, I would recommend C Display EX. That's what I've used forever. And the reason I say get the comic book RAR files is because the PDFs are compressed to death. Like, they're hard to read when you download them straight from Internet Archive. And the CBR files are a lot bigger, and they might also be called a CBZ file. It's like comic book RAR or comic book zip. They're the same thing. Get that. Learn from my mistakes. I downloaded quite a few PDFs, and then I was like, I can't read this. What is happening? And so I went back and I got the comic book RAR files, and they look great. And Panels is awesome. It saves your place. It's just like reading in like iBooks or on any other PDF reader. Before I wrap this up, I want to mention that reading all of these pulps has been so much fun. Seeing the ads, like the ads are just glorious. And it's just another one of those little things that you can escape with. You feel like you're in another place. When I'm reading on my iPad, especially at night, you can put on like the nighttime filter, which yellows the pages that are already yellowed, but it feels like you're reading this old yellowed pulp, very soft lighting on your eyes. I read it before I go to sleep. It's so much fun. Like, it's 2026. There's AI slop everywhere now. You know where there's not AI slop? In all of these free pulp magazines you can read for fun. So much of BookTube is like, look at the books I bought. I got this limited edition thing. Or let's dig for a hidden gem. Like, if you want real hidden gems that you know aren't going to be junk crapped out by a clanker, go find some pulps. Like, check these out, and you can branch out from here because there's so many of them on Internet Archive and so many other internet archives online. It's such a fun hobby to have that costs you nothing but your time. And you know what? What is more fun than digging up random crap on the internet? I mean, reading, I guess, but only barely. I highly recommend all three of these to anyone. I'll give you a recap real quick of what they were. It's Astounding Science Fiction, April 1941. If you just search that with archive at the end, it will show up. Weird Tales, January 1947, and Startling Stories, September 1951. They're great. They're very fun reads. Let me know in the comments if any of you are pulp magazine enjoyers, especially Internet Archive stuff. I know I've got some grognards that refuse to read anything digitally, which is fine. I mean, while I'm doing all this stuff for free, you can huff the pulp magazines as they disintegrate in your hands while you enjoy the story one last time. And I will revel in my near permanent digital archive of pulp magazines that I'm slowly accruing. I forgot where I was going with that. Let me know if you read any of these too. I'd love to hear your thoughts on some of these stories. Thanks for watching, and with that, I'll see you next time.